Hello Year 2s and welcome to another maths lesson with Miss Whitmarsh. Today we're going to be focusing on money. For this lesson you're going to need your maths book or some paper and a pencil. If you have some money at home to help you add or give change, that would also be useful. I haven't got any, so I'm just going to be using my addition and subtraction skills to solve any problems today. How do we recognise coins and notes? As you can see from the pictures on the screen, the notes are one way round, as are the coins, and you can see the number, the value of each coin and note, and whether it's pounds or pence. When they're the other way round, we rely on the colour, shape and size of the coin to be able to tell what it's worth. Today, to warm up, you could play some recognition games with your grown-up or a sibling at home. You could play Would You Rather. So would you rather have one £20 note or three £10 notes? Or you could do some role play and label some things in your home for what they're worth and pay for them with real coins. It's time to go shopping in the flower shop. We have some tulips for 45p, daffodils for 56p and roses for 76p. I'm going to buy some tulips and daffodils as they're my favourite flowers. So I'm going to do 45p, add 56p. You can choose which method you would like to use to solve this. I'm going to use partitioning. So I'm going to partition my tens and my ones. So I'm going to have 40p, add 50p to make 90p. Then I'm going to have 5p, add 6p equals 11p. So now I need to add these two totals together. 90p, add 11p equals, so if I add these together I actually have 101p. Let's have a look at that. That sounds quite strange, doesn't it? So I'm going to change this because I know there's 100 pennies in £1. So I'm going to change it to £1, 1. So that's £1, 1p. So it can also look like that. To have a challenge, you could also draw the coins you would need to use to pay. So I would have a £1 and a 1p to pay for those flowers. Now you're in the bookshop and here's a challenge for you. Pick two books to buy and add the amounts together for a total cost. So here you're just adding pence. It could go over £1, so you could try and see if you could change it into your pounds and pence as well. As an extra challenge, can you draw the coins that you would need to use to pay for it? On the next slide, you'll see some adding pounds and pence that are a little bit trickier. So here we are still in the bookshop, but the amounts are slightly trickier, adding pounds and pence together. So you might decide to change the method. Again, can you draw the notes or the coins that you would need to use to pay for the books that you have bought? Now we're going to have a look at giving change. This is when we have a coin or a note to pay for something, but that is actually worth more than the item we're buying. So I have £1 and I buy some birdseed for 67p. How much change do I get? So now I'm going to write my number sentence. £1 take away 67p. I know that £1 is the same as 100 pennies. So this is actually going to make it easier for me to solve it because now I've got a bigger number to work with. I'm going to use partitioning again today. You may choose to use a different method. I'm going to do 100, take away 60 first. And if I count back, I could do that in my head or with my fingers counting out loud. I know that I'm going to have 40 left. So now I'm going to do 40, so I'm going to use what's left, take away 7. So I've made it easier for myself. Again, I could count back and that leaves me with 33. So I know that my answer is going to be 33p. As a challenge, you could also draw the coins that a shopkeeper might give you. 33p is quite tricky, so I know I would have, this is a very rough shape for a 20p, and I'd get a 10p, 3p. There isn't a 3p coin. I'm going to have to make 3p, so I could get a 2p and a 1p as change. So now you're in the pet shop and you have £1 to spend. Here are some different items and their prices. Can you have a go at working out how much change you would get if you were to buy each item with a £1 coin? As an extra challenge, what coins would you be given as change? Pause here if you'd like to have a go at this challenge. Here's a slightly different challenge. The prices of the items are still the same, but this time you have a £5 note. How much change would you get if you bought one item? How much change would you get if you bought two? Do you have enough money to buy all 6 items? See if you can have a go. Pause the video here. Finally, we're going to have a look at some problem solving. Here's a problem for you. Mary buys these 2 items, a key ring for 16 pence and a teddy bear for 19 pence. She pays with the following coin, a 50p pence. Here is the change that she is given. So she's given a 10 pence piece and a 5 pence piece to make 15p. Has she been given the correct change? Pause the video here and see if you can work it out. So now let's have a look at this challenge again. We'll go through it together. The first thing I need to solve is how much the 2 items are going to cost all together. So I actually need to do 16p add 19p. This time I'm going to use my column addition. So I'm going to make sure I follow it properly. So I have 6 add 9, that's going to make 15. So I need to carry my extra 10. I've got 1 10, 2 10s, 3 10s. So that makes 35. So altogether, Mary has spent 35p. Now, the second part is if she is given the correct change. So now I need to do 50p, because that's what she paid with. Take away 35p, how much she spent. Again, I'm going to use column to work this out to check the answer. So it'll be 50, take away 35. I can't do 0 take away 5, so I'm going to borrow a 10. So now I have 10 take away 5, which leaves me with 5. And now I have 4 ones take away 3 ones, which leaves me with 1. So here I can see that the answer is actually 15. So that means she gets 15p change. So the shopkeeper was correct. How did you do on this challenge? That's the end of today's maths lesson on money. If you go on our website, there are some extra challenges for adding amounts, giving change and problem solving. As always, I'd love to see your work in the Facebook comments. Enjoy and have fun.